This is Two Blokes Talking Electric Cars with Stephen Fennick and Trevor Long. Thanks to NRMA Insurance and Uniden.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. Thank you for watching. This podcast is brought to you by NRMA Insurance, helping over 3 million people across Australia protect the things they care about. And Uniden Smart Dashcams, Australia's best dashcam, awarded by CanStar Blue in a range of categories. And they have some cracking products coming out. Stephen, welcome to Blokes Talking Electric Cars.
G'day, Trev. I thought I'd kick off with I think we're going to see a new movement of, we're about the share economy, right? We've got Airbnb, we've got Uber, all these other things that we share. I think there is movement in Europe. There's a company that is looking at creating a way to share your home charging stations.
Right.
So you can think about, imagine if you're driving around, you're thinking, I need to charge somewhere.
Yep.
And so naturally you're thinking, okay, I've got to go to a shopping centre, I've got to go somewhere where there's a charger.
Yep.
Imagine if you can pull into someone's driveway and use their wall charger.
Now, so this is fascinating because you think about this. You're right. It's like the gig economy, share economy. You've been able to share your driveway, your parking spot. Like there's some cities around the world, including in Australia, where you can go, oh, there's no parking. It's Christmas time and the shops are full. I'm going to rent someone's garage for the day, let alone you could rent it ongoing. So you're able to share car spaces, cars, we've got Go-Get and things like that, Uber car share. So the idea of sharing is not unusual to people. But you're saying what they're looking at doing is setting up a network, an app, where you go, right, I need to charge my car. And I'm in a suburb I don't know, or it's my own suburb, and I'll just be able to find people's houses.
So the company behind it's called PowerPod, and their thinking is that one of the hesitation for people adopting an EV is that they're worried they're not going to find a place to charge it. They're going to be short. And so that built on that, they're thinking of, they've built a platform that'll enable people to list themselves as a potential charging destination. So if you're in this area, you'll come up on the list. And then if your charge is free, they can then come and use your charger, and depending on your charger, a lot of the chargers now, you can actually record how much power is used with each charge and then apply a charge to that. So rather than you having to wait in a line for a public charger, you can drive straight into someone's driveway with their permission, of course, and be able to use their charger.
Because I'm sure somewhere, we both got wall boxes, so I'm sure somewhere in that installation process there was are you going to share this kind of thing that allowed you to either lock it or unlock it using apps and things. So essentially, this will open up people who maybe the people we've talked about have the biggest risk or issue getting into EVs, which is people who don't have off-street parking.
True.
So if you don't have off-street parking, but in your suburb there is other places, other people that do, and that they're available, then hey presto.
Kind of works two ways as well. Like it does offer the convenience for a driver. So if you're a little bit concerned that you can't, you maybe have a long trip, or you're just in an area where there's no public charges, peace of mind for them. But also too for the owner, it helps them offset some of their own costs as well. If they've got their electricity bill, or this is an opportunity for them to make a little bit of money and help offset their own costs.
So I've just been doing some research while we've been talking. So, for example, our wall boxes. What you can do with a wall box is a little bit more private. So it's really just like I can lock my wall box so that only authorised users like myself can initiate the charge, but I can invite other people like you, which I would never do. Because you're doing very well. You don't need my power. So if you were coming around, or let's say my brother had an EV and he was coming to visit for a week, well, I could unlock it for him so
and
it worked.
authorise him to use it.
But what it doesn't do is easily make you publicly accessible. Like a Tesla destination charger is a great example of that, because you could run a hotel or a winery in the Hunter Valley and you could install a destination charger and list it as open.
Okay.
And then other people see it on the map as being a charger they can use. You might do that because you just want traffic. You just want people to come via the gift store or whatever.
And naturally, I think the app would then tap into whatever charger you have, and then maybe like you use with ChargeFox and those other, it'll tell you how much power you've used, and it'll give you your bill. It'll tell you how much you've used.
I don't mind the idea, I'll be honest.
And then charge your credit card. So it's again, like there's so many models of this. Like I remember I wrote about the people being able to rent out their pools. Someone you want to go to someone's pool, or a driveway, a parking spot. So this is just yet another thing that you may be able to rent out.
And you've spent money on it. Like the thing is, you get into this space. It's not cheap. we talk about it all the time.
Costs a bit of money to put a wall charger in.
Yeah, $1,000, $1,500 plus installation. So,
it.
a couple of $1,000 you're into, but you get the advantage of, 7-hour charging instead of 34.
Yeah.
Like it's a big and important thing to do if you do have off-street parking.
Yeah,
it's almost ludicrous not to have some sort of wall.
Question
wall box.
would be: would you do it? Would you share yours? Would you?
I just always think I live in such a boring suburb, like a
so far away
traditional.
too.
Yeah, but
so
there's
out in the country here.
I
a lot
wonder,
of people would like that.
There is a lot of BYDs, Teslas, Polestars around our area, right? And I wonder how many of them do have genuinely installed equipment at home, and I wonder how many of them would go. You know what? Because when I've spoken about this before, I tested the Cooper from 3% to 100. It was $21 at my place, based on the electricity that I was currently charging at that time. Yep. So I don't know if it was $50 to get a full charge at my joint, and I was able to clip the ticket on $30 of that. I mean, Is that
reasonable to charge that for the thing with a lot of? So that's the other.
You
factor.
Think it should be cheaper?
No. The factor is how long is it going to take? Like how much charge do they want? Are they going to be in your driveway for 6 hours? Like
it'd have
that's
to.
the other thing you got to consider.
This is why the app's so complicated, right? Because it's all well and good to say, okay, our charger. So our driveway's set up so that essentially there's spots, and that spot is pretty much open certain hours of the week when I'm at the office. So it would be easy to say, but if some bloke's there on the app, earning, getting charged, and I'm earning money, and I pull up at home half an hour early than normal, or I pull up on time and he hasn't left.
Yeah. Or she.
He or she hasn't left. What do I get? I get owner access. I get to pump them off, but I can't drive them out of the driveway.
Yeah, well, these are little details that has to be worked out. But look, I'll be honest, I like the concept. I do like the concept to give people the opportunity.
I think it needs whiteboarding.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's not something. I think Uber took more than a day to build that one, but all these other apps and opportunities, I think, is something that as more EVs, people are buying more EVs.
Yeah.
And I think the stats that they show, there's like a third of drivers are hesitant because of the fact that they're concerned about where they can charge their EV.
Yeah.
So if that really eases that, then it's only going to help adoption of EVs across the board.
Yeah, very good. All right, well, let us know what you think of plug sharing in that sense. There's an app called Plug Share on a website, but this is in the genuine sense, like the go-get of your home wall box sharing. Now, I've found this story fascinating. The new Porsche Taycan. Now, they released the new Porsche, their first electric Macan earlier. Yep. Brilliant. Very excited about getting into that when it comes out. And the new Taycan is broadly very similar to the old one. There's tweaks and things. But what took my attention here, Stephen, was the announcement about what they've done with the battery. So, for example, there are now two batteries, a 97 kilowatt battery and an 82 kilowatt.
So two models of the car.
These are in miles. 367 miles of range in one and 421 miles in the larger battery. 421 miles, that is enormous range.
Yeah.
Enormous range. That is a 35% improvement on the outgoing car.
Wow. That's efficiency right there.
Porsche has made a 35% efficiency improvement in how the battery is utilised, the drain on the battery by the very nature of driving the car. And see, this to me is a huge thing that we're going to see over the next 5 years is this leap. Yeah, and I talked about it 5 weeks ago when we were talking about the Hyundai Ioniq. I broke down and it's only 200 k's range.
Yeah.
And we're now at 500.
That was how that was 5-6 years ago, wasn't it?
Yes.
That was a while ago.
That's how quickly it changes.
But I say this to a lot of people. I say, look, you're thinking about like a lot of the naysayers are quoting figures from years ago.
Yeah.
And I tell them, I said, look, the batteries are getting better, the charge is getting faster. It's all moving in the right direction. This is case in point right here. And I've got to say, love the new design. Looks amazing.
Yeah, it's a nice looking car.
I like that.
Charging time, another thing that's improved. 300 kilowatt DC charging. This is the fast charging you can get. From 10% to 80% in 18 minutes.
Wow.
Now,
that's fast.
Again, the naysayers and the non-EV drivers don't understand that you don't fill up your vehicle when you're on a road trip. You top it up to what you need. Yeah. That's right. Take what you need. Really good philosophy.
Yep.
So the need for you to go from 10 to 80 is actually quite rare. So 18 minutes is a long stop.
You know what? And I go to charges that are that fast as well, like 20, 22 minutes.
Yeah.
And you know what? I find it hard to go, grab a coffee, do what I need to do, and get back to the car, and that's hardly enough time.
No, that's right.
Just to get a coffee.
And this applies on road trips as well. People
Yeah.
talk about country and all that kind of stuff. I'll tell you right now, when you need to pee and you need a coffee or you need lunch,
gotta
even if you're eating in the car while driving, someone's got to grab your lunch, make it, whatever. Like it takes time.
Yeah.
There is 10 to 15 minutes wasted in getting in, ordering, doing, and then getting back out.
Yeah.
And then you realise, wow, we've just soaked up 40% battery in that time.
And I'm always conscious of thinking if I don't want people to be waiting. If my car's charged and there are people waiting to charge, I'm very conscious of that.
You're a good person.
I'm very considerate like that, and
There are
that's
many
why
who are
I always rush back to the car to make sure that I'm not keeping anyone waiting.
Look, it gets to the etiquette we've talked about before, but just that range on the
That's
new Taycan,
amazing.
587 kilometres.
Has the price come down? Or
No, it's still expensive. But I'll tell you this every day of the week
Yeah.
until I end this earth. But if I win Lotto, the first car I buy
Is this it?
is a Porsche Taycan.
is that right?
With
Wow.
just zero question. That is the
can
number
afford-
one.
You can afford this.
I
now. What are you
cannot
talking
afford
about?
this. Okay, I
Doing
have
very well.
I have asked the question
Yeah.
of Porsche. What are the
Yeah.
finance
But
options here?
we're looking at.
And I went, that's insanity.
You're looking at about 200K here. Is it like a
Oh, yeah.
180,
they start
190?
160, 180, but
Yeah,
then
yeah.
you're in the 200s, right?
Yes.
And
It's in a rarefied
I
atmosphere.
don't know if
that
you've
one.
ever asked a leasing company to do the finance on that, but it's wild.
I have done that, and my Merc not quite as expensive as this one,
No.
but there's some interesting range of figures there.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak because the EV9, but it is wild money. But it's
Yeah.
So the thing about the Porsches, and I love the fact, and we get this when we're reviewing tech. You review something and then you kind of want to read everyone else's review to go,
Yeah. Did
was
they
I
feel
on-
the same way?
Did I feel the same way? And I feel very comfortable about the Porsche because I've never seen anyone say this isn't a magnificent car.
Oh, yeah.
This thing
No doubt
is
about it.
tuned to perfection. It's Porsche
It's
for
a
crying
Porsche,
out loud.
exactly. Yeah.
They're not missing a beat. They're
No,
not suddenly just
not at
shipping
all.
some rubbish.
Yeah, it's like Mercedes. All these brands have been around. They're not going to. They're not going to do. They're not going to take a misstep, even though, despite it's an EV. It's
No.
still a car. It's still
Exactly.
their vehicle.
So
Amazing.
I think what fascinating here is to kind of put a pin in is
Yeah.
this is what episode 3, right? Imagine where we're going to be in episode 100 and 200 when we talk about where Mercedes and BMW and Audi and companies like that. I'm not trying to put down Tesla here because they've done big leaps as well. They've made great improvements through
they've actually-
software only.
And they've pushed along these other brands too.
Yeah.
These other brands have seen the advances Tesla's making, not only in technology but in the market.
That's
People
right.
buying their cars. So
And you think about Tesla's ability to make software upgrades that give you range.
that's amazing. And
That's
speed.
amazing, right?
And speed. I think I did a Tesla update and my car was 0.1 of a second faster. Yeah, that was impressive. Yeah.
So we have a long way to go. That's why I think we've hit the perfect timing for this show is because, mate, there's been years of this conversation, but we're now really at that point of escalation, and I think that's why it's a really exciting space to be in and
Absolutely
to be following.
right. So what's the damage on this Porsche Taycan, mate?
Oh, it doesn't matter.
And when's it out?
It's a 2025 model, so
Okay.
essentially, if you were
Later
this
this year.
flying and you went into a dealer, this will be the one you'll get. Basically, it's the new make.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm not getting a
Love
Porsche
it.
Taycan.
Love it.
I'm
Yeah.
not getting a Porsche.
If you roll up in one, I'm thinking he's won Oz Lotto or Powerball or something. If you roll up,
If it's
in one
not
of
in
these.
our review diary and I roll up in one,
Yeah. Can you get it in the review diary?
oh no, it's
Hopefully.
happening for sure. Oh, for sure,
Mate, we'll be fighting over that one.
mate. No, we'll
We'll share it. Yeah.
no.
Have to
we'll
get it for 2 weeks. I
That's a
think.
good
Yeah,
idea.
Get it for 2 weeks.
It's a great idea.
Definitely.
Two blokes talking electric cars. Now, Stephen, for our first driver chat, we wanted to catch up with people who own electric cars other than just us. Obviously, we both
course.
own electric cars, and we've made that very clear to people.
Yep.
But the experience is different for everyone. So rather than just us rabbit on about our experience, we made a call out. And if anyone listening to the Two Blokes Talking Electric Cars wants to get in touch, you can do so via techguide.com.au. We can come to EFTM.com and just click Ask Trev. Very simple. Just get in touch. Say I'm an electric car owner and happy to have a chat. And you know what? Let's be really clear. If you hate your electric car or you've
we
sent
want to
it
hear
back
as well. Yeah.
we're not here to just talk roses about electric cars.
Absolutely.
We want the absolute nuts and bolts of this thing because I'm learning things. Stephen learns things. You learn something every week.
Absolutely,
But
yeah.
the experience is not the same for everyone. So our first electric car owner is on the line now. It's Stephen, and he's a Tesla owner, and it's not Stephen Fennick. G'day,
No,
Stephen.
another Stephen.
Hi guys, how's it going?
Yeah, really good. So tell us your broad story. What do you own, and how did you get to that point? What did you look at?
I own a Tesla Model Y Performance. I've had it since March last year, so it's almost a year. I've done almost 25,000 kilometres in it. I arrived at this through a circuitous route. I've been following electric cars for very many years, and I decided I wanted one a long time ago, and I thought the Model 3 would probably suit me, but we hired one for a weekend, drove down the south coast. I didn't find it a comfortable driving position. It may be because I was coming from a Volkswagen Tiguan and it's a higher sitting
More
position.
of an SUV, yeah.
Yeah, sounds like my wife.
Yes.
She likes the higher position. Yeah.
Okay. So, and then we went to the States because my son lives over there, and we drove a Model Y before they came to Australia. And I thought, yes, this is comfortable. This is what I like.
Yeah.
So I'm one of those crazy people. The day they came available for order, I put my order in. I only had two choices, rear-wheel drive or performance. I really wanted a long-wheel drive because, as I've described, I drive from Sydney. I live in Newcastle, and I drive back to Sydney every second weekend. So the range was an important thing for me.
Okay.
And so, yeah, but of course we all know about WLTP, and it's 500 and something kilometres, but I think real world's probably more like 415 or so.
So was that a concern, mate, going in? Was there a bit of anxiety with this, or did you think, yeah, she'll be right?
No, I thought I look at a lot of YouTube videos. I listen to you guys all the time. I understand that what's on the box is not necessarily what you're going to receive. And so I went in there with my eyes open.
Yep.
The interesting thing was range anxiety. I anticipated would be a really big deal for me, but we picked the car up in Alexandria and drove back to Newcastle, and not once have I had range anxiety. You know, it's just it's not really a thing.
No,
So,
because that trip. So
That's
let's talk
easy.
about
I've
range.
I've done that trip in my Tesla. It's about 25% of your battery.
The range that you've got. So your Model Y when you bought it. So on the internet, what you were sold. What was the range you thought you were going to get?
well, it's advertised as 513 from memory, something like that.
Yeah.
It's a lot of case. It's a lot of case.
Yes,
but that trip,
but I
from
knew-
Newcastle to Sydney, round trip is how many k's?
It's 340 if I just go down and back.
Yep.
But I've got family in Sydney, so my typical weekend trip is 470 kilometres.
Right.
So it doesn't get there, but it's not a great effort. Some of my family live in the south of Sydney, so I stop at the Kirrawee supercharger.
Yep.
I go upstairs to the supermarket. It takes 10 minutes. It adds something like 10% to the battery, and then I'm done. So that gives me enough, and I get home around about 10% state of charge.
Right. And so at home you've got a charger as well, I'm assuming, as well? You got one on the wall?
Oh, yes. I've got a Tesla wall charger, and that's where I would do 95% of my charging. I think it's almost mandatory. If you're going to own an electric car, you're crazy if you're not charging at home. I know some people don't have that luxury.
That's what we've been saying.
I'm paying about 8 cents a kilowatt hour between midnight and 6 a.m. And so it's really cheap, you know, when you compare it to a ICE vehicle, it's not in the same league.
All right, let's turn to the review of your car, mate. What do you like about it? What could be better? Let's start with what you like about it.
What I like is the performance. As I said, it's a performance model, but I would probably only put it in sports mode, I think, 5 times since I've owned it, because it's just crazy. You know, like you don't need to go from 0 to 100 in 3.7 seconds. You know, there it is. But, you know, your day-to-day driving, you can't utilise that.
But you've done it, haven't you? You've got your mates in the car going, look, watch this. You've done it, haven't you?
They are the only circumstances in which sports mode is selected. Yes,
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Yeah.
Yes. So the integrated navigation and supercharging I really like because
Unbelievable,
then
that's
you're not
powerful.
having to deal with other things. I'm in Bright in Victoria at the moment, and there are no bit of a supercharger black spots, so I'm having to use applications like PlugShare and EV to find non-Tesla chargers to keep me going. So, we're getting the best of both worlds, and it's great for all other EV drivers these days because Tesla's opening up their network, and it makes it great for the experience for everybody. Well, I think that's good.
What bugs you then? What puts you a little bit off colour about the car or the experience?
I dislike the back window. It's useless. I almost don't use the back window at all anymore because it's just so small. It's not really useful. I think there are not many other things I don't like about it. It's very reliable.
Pretty good outcome for Tesla.
Can I ask, Steve? Does not having a cluster in front of your steering wheel bother you? Have you ever considered a third party little display for in front of your wheel, or are you happy glancing down to your left?
Well, before I bought it, I saw lots of YouTube videos with those type of displays, and I thought I'm probably going to want that. But you become accustomed to it reasonably quickly, I think, and so I certainly don't think I require it. I think most Tesla drivers become used to this glancing to the left. I think one of the accessories I want to buy is one of those fittings that you can do, and you can swivel the screen a bit more towards the driver. Yeah. I think that would be really useful.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Just finally then, Stephen, you're obviously only young into the ownership of the car, but do you find yourself advocating for EVs around your mates, and would you consider anything else next time around, or are you just all in on Tesla now, do you think?
Yeah, I absolutely advocate EVs to all of my mates, explaining all the benefits of it, and I think that's the future. And the more you look into it, I think that it's inevitable that ICE cars are going to fade away, and it's going to be reasonably quickly, in my view. And I think it's just a sensible decision to make. We're going to be forced down that track at some point, I believe, because I don't think you'll be able to buy an ICE car. So
it's certainly going to be made harder, if not impossible, in the long future.
He's up with the lingo, the ICE car. I love it.
He's been iced in, haven't you? You've been iced in.
You've been iced. Have you ever been iced, mate, at a charger?
No, I haven't, fortunately, but I'm sure it would annoy me.
I have been several times when I had my Tesla.
Don't get Stephen don't get either of the Stephens started. Stephen from the Newcastle area and your Tesla Model Y, mate. Really, really good to hear from you. Great experience to share with other people, and glad that car is treating you well. You do own basically the best selling SUV in Australia, so you'd want to be doing well for you, mate. I really appreciate you getting in touch.
Great. Okay. Thank you very much, Trevor and Steve.
Thank you. Cheers, mate. Good on you. And see, now I'm going to tell you my favourite thing about what Stephen just said.
Yep.
Was not just the validation of my comments several weeks ago, which Ryan, one of our listeners, decided to take me up on in the rankings and ratings on podcasts, but 0 to 100, he's used it 4 or 5 times since he's owned it. He bought the performance car, and essentially what I heard there and what he said in his email to us was, range is more important than performance,
course,
and that's always going to be the trade-off. When you use performance, you forego range, and people once you get your kicks out of it, the novelty wears off, and your common sense kicks in. We will talk soon about what I'm driving and still getting a kick out of that has nothing to do with performance. Anyway, if you've got a question or you want to have a chat about your EV, get in touch with us, EFTM.com, techguide.com.au. Now, at the start of the show, we were talking about Porsche and how I'm doing very well, and that's what I'd really love. But I'm not doing well enough. But I am driving an electric car, as we try to each and every week, as well as our own vehicles. The Ford e-Transit van.
Yeah, this is a big baby, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
big
enormous.
Car.
Like
this
is a van you can stand in. Okay, so it's enormous. It only just fits under the awning of my office.
Wow.
It does not fit in any normal car space because it sticks out so much. And let's be real, it's a $104,000 vehicle, right? Now, I am going to put my hand up right away and say, look, I don't review commercial vans regularly. But I am tipping that your average delivery driver is not spending $104,000.
Is that it there?
On their motor vehicle.
Okay.
And so, yes, this is a premium vehicle, but what I think this is a little snapshot. Now, there are other, I think LDV have an electric van in Australia as well. There are
So this is full electric.
This is
fully electric.
Electric. This is not plug-in hybrid. This is nothing like this. Is full battery electric. I think it's a 68 kilowatt-hour battery.
Wow.
It's just under 300 kilometres range. I'm going to take it on a proper road trip. Like I'm going to drive 1,000 kilometres on the weekend driving this thing, and I'll be interested to see what the highway range is. My guess is it's in the 220 to 240. So I'm aiming to charge every one. And this goes to our talk about how you plan these things.
Yeah.
I would normally on this same drive charge once. In a car with a 500 kilometre range, I would charge once. I'm planning 3 stops at about 140 kilometres each time, which, by the way, is how often Trev needs to stop for a chocky and a drink. So perfectly timed. And so I think it'll work out perfectly fine. But, mate, if you've ever driven a van because you're helping a mate move or whatever, these are not fun things to drive. They're big diesels, whatever. This is a bloody electric car. It is legit. I'm at the lights coming from the dealership with a Model Y Uber driver in his Splend Model Y next to me, right? And he's sitting there cocky as hell thinking, I got this. Mate, you don't got this. I got you.
Is that right?
I smashed him.
Off the mark.
Now, he wasn't actually going me, so he probably would have got me. Because it's 0 to 100 is not spectacular, but it's certainly better than you would ever expect from a van.
Wow.
And I was just blown away by it.
Yeah, incredible. So I'm just trying to look for the actual specs of the car. So the length of the car, have you got any information there? Length overall is 5.981 metres.
Mate,
it's nearly 6 metres long.
It's a transit van,
It's a big boy.
It's ridiculous.
Is 2.474, so 2.5 metres wide.
Yep.
And has 198 kilowatts of power.
Yeah.
And this thing can move.
Mate, it has a huge centre display for the infotainment, like proper great forward sync infotainment and a small digital display. It has all the storage you need for a transit van.
And then some.
So
how many passenger seats in it?
So
is
the
back's a van?
bench.
Is the back
the
a
back
van?
is a van, mate.
Right, so you can put, there's only seats at the front and
it's
the
just a bench at
back's
the front.
empty.
100%
Can
bench.
you configure it with seats if you wanted to?
I mean, if you were driving a bus, maybe, yes.
Could you sort of say
That's
you wanted
the back
to...
of the van. I'm showing Stephen. It's a proper...
Wow, it's got
it's an
got
empty
a
van.
perspective to it.
For someone said to us, you should show photos. Okay, I'm showing you my phone.
That's just like a distance going to the horizon.
Here's what my 12-year-old described. With his mates we were driving the coupe. I brought him home from school, and he goes, he's driving a van. It's like an abduction van. It's the kind of van that if it pulls up next to you and the sliding door opens, you run.
Yeah, you could fit a whole footy team in it.
Mate, you could abduct a lot of people in that thing. It's
okay.
But
we don't endorse that use of the car, by the way.
Of course not. But yeah, it's a giant thing in my driveway.
Yeah.
And it, to me, is...
How does it drive, though? Does it drive like a big beast or not?
No, it drives
like a normal car?
No, it drives like a van.
Right.
Like the seating position and all that kind of stuff.
So hang on, you got the underhand
mate,
steering wheel? The underhand, you go.
Pretty much. But it's like a bus. But
really?
I'm telling you, mate.
So when you're turning it, he's doing these ones like this, mate?
It's the whole kit, right? I might be able to arrange it for you because I actually picked it up accidentally a month early. I turned up and I wasn't meant to be there.
By the way, you meant to be here next month.
But,
is that what they said?
But breaking news with press vehicles, vans, not that popular. Okay. So it was just sitting there waiting to be picked up.
Here's an idea.
Yeah.
You can pick up another car in the van.
In the van.
Just put it in the back of the van and bring that as well.
It's a remarkable experience.
Okay.
And it's a window to me now. So obviously not your average self-employed delivery driver is probably not going to go down this route. But you can see businesses that are going for green efficiency and that if your range is, if you're driving 200 to 250 kilometres a day.
City driving.
Then you will charge this every night. You'll do your deliveries and you're doing it at zero emissions.
Okay.
So that benefit is there. It's legit a benefit that can be taken.
You could potentially be like a delivery driver, courier, or
100%.
you could have this, and that sort of you save on your fuel costs because you're charging it.
That's it.
Overnight.
That's right.
Wow.
If you're intelligent with your charging, like off peak and all that kind of stuff, you're saving money. As I said, I'm pretty sure LDV have an electric model. You know the guys from iTransport who often deliver the TVs to us to review and stuff. They've got a big Ford Transit van, and the Brad is definitely looking at going.
Really?
Going electric.
So they got the petrol version, and
Yeah.
this is the EV version.
Yeah.
Nice.
Because
and
it's
what
the right
and
thing
they
to do.
popular, are they? They selling or what? Yeah.
Look, I don't know how many of the e-transit vans are selling at $104,000, but
Right.
you know,
Step in the right direction, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an important step because the economy going electric doesn't work if the whole economy doesn't go that way in some way, shape, or form. So
I want to see you with the big steering wheel driving this thing, mate. That's what I want to see.
I'll make sure
Well,
there's.
I'll get a chance to have a crack
I don't know.
at this. Or
I'll make sure
will
I
it fit down
rebook
my
it.
driveway or what?
No. Yeah, no, it would.
Oh,
Yeah, of
I've
course
got
it
an
would.
open driveway. I should be fine.
Yeah, no, it'd be fine.
I
I actually
won't-
worried about the wires at my house.
When you drive into a shopping centre, you're gonna
no,
bump
you will not go into a shopping centre.
Really?
Oh, no way.
It's that big,
Mate.
What about the harbour tunnel? Is it going to fit in there?
I don't think so.
What?
No, it would. It would fit in the
Got a
harbour tunnel.
semi-trailer.
It'd fit in the harbour tunnel.
Mate, Ray Hadley will be on the line.
Oh,
if you're,
could you
if
imagine? Mate, pigeons can set that thing off. Hadley are filthy at me.
Wow.
Anyway, the Ford
Amazing.
e-Transit van, the electric car you didn't know existed
Wow.
until we drove it here on Two Blokes Talking Electric Cars. It's
Boom.
really that simple.
Amazing.
And with that, we've ended the show. That's enough for this week, Stephen. We'll be back again next week. Thanks to NRMA Insurance and Uniden Smart Dashcam, Stephen. I just can't wait to unpack more of the electric future with you
Absolutely.
in
Me
just
too.
a week's time.
Looking forward to it.
See you, mate.